I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis when I was 15 years old. That was back in the mid-70s. I had never heard of this disease before. I didn't know anything about bowel diseases, but I started exhibiting terrible bloody diarrhea, and frequency I couldn't control. Diagnosis was by my general practitioner, my family doctor, and it was a good diagnosis. He was correct, but the treatment was not exactly what they're doing today, and I was put on narcotics, believe it or not. And so I had a hard time for a number of years with the disease, and being a very athletic and outgoing person, it really took a devastating toll on me, emotionally and physically. At the same time, I was embarrassed and humiliated by the disease, so I didn't really talk about it. So it was my own little secret, which today seems, unusual with the media that we have today. It was a very challenging time. I lived with that disease for 27 years. I did eventually have a resection done and had a tumor removed, but even getting cancer really wasn't enough to kind of scare me. But I finally came to my senses and asked for the surgery, and I never looked back. I have to say that it was a defining decision in my life, probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, because it meant moving forward from this disease that had taken so much from me. The most difficult situation was having almost uncontrollable bloody diarrhea, and not being able to predict or control when you had to go, and in fact maybe only have a few seconds to make it to a bathroom, and still trying to keep it a secret from people. I remember a particular date I was on with a pretty young girl, and we were in line to go to the movies, and I just couldn't hold it. And you can imagine how I felt. I wanted to crawl under a rock, but you sort of compartmentalize these things and put them in the back of your mind as an experience that you've gone through, and you just try to get on with your day. But I have to say, not being in control of your bowels is a very difficult physically and emotional thing to have to deal with. Well, I didn't really deal with IBD very well. I tried to hide all that. I don't think very many people knew, maybe my closest friends. But after I had the surgery, I started feeling better. I felt so relieved and so blessed that I just had to get involved. And so I started getting involved in groups that were doing things very physical. I started testing myself, and I found that sharing my story helped people, because there are new patients every year that are being diagnosed, and they need some sort of guidance and some sort of inspiration. So I've been really fortunate that I've come through this, and I find no greater joy than helping other people. Well, the ostomy surgery is the way I overcame IBD. Fortunately, there is that option. But to actually overcome the ostomy, I didn't really feel like it was anything to really overcome. I had to adjust to it. And it took time. I have to say, I didn't really know what I was capable of doing, so I started being much more involved with my kids and my family. We started traveling more, I started shopping more, I started just living my life more fully. And eventually I started becoming more active physically. I got a bike and I started riding, I started doing charity rides, I started volunteering, I joined a support group, started sharing my story publicly, I started doing public speaking, and all these things gave me such wonderful feedback that I realized that everybody's story, it means something to somebody and can inspire another person. So 2 years ago, as a matter of fact, this week, I ended up coming up with the idea to ride my bike across the country to show that, you know, you can overcome this. So I rode my bike 4,000 miles self-supported all the way from Connecticut to Washington State to prove that you can do just about anything with an ostomy. Oh, never staying quiet is such an important concept. And having been a person that never wanted to talk about it, not staying quiet about it now has become a major theme in my life. I really feel that I need to own it. And I pretty much tell everybody what I went through, and I'm proud of the fact that I have an ostomy now because of what it's enabled me to do. So having a platform to talk about it is, I think, one of the best things about your foundation. People need that kind of support. So if they hear a story that kind of resonates with them, it's going to help them. So thanks for doing it.